Today we'll be showing you how to gain access to the internal components of this range hood. The model number is the WS-62N, but these steps also apply to the H model. And as we're gaining access to the internal components, you're going to want to make sure that the power to the unit has been disconnected, whether that be unplugging it from the outlet or turning off the breaker. Once we verify that there's no power going to the unit, we can continue with our process. First things first, we're going to remove the glass, which is being held in by two screws on each side. One here, another over here, and then another one in the back. So we're going to get those 4 screws removed, and we'll go ahead and slide out the glass forward towards the front of the control switch. Okay, now that all 4 screws have been removed, which were securing the glass to the actual body itself, you may want to use actually have 2 people doing this process, which will make it much easier. Or if not, just go ahead and take your time and make sure that you do go slowly, as you don't want to damage the duct cover, the bottom duct cover that's actually sitting on the sides of the glass. You can easily go ahead and do a slow lift, and then you're going to slide it towards the front of the unit. Make sure you do that slowly, and once you have it out, make sure that you go ahead and set the glass somewhere aside where it's not going to be damaged. Okay, now that the glass has been removed, we're actually going to go ahead and then remove this plate right here that's sitting at the top. It's actually being held by these 2 outer screws, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 on both sides, so a total of 4 screws. Let's go ahead and get these screws removed, and we can actually take this plate off and gain access to the internal components. Okay, now that all 4 screws have been removed, we can actually go ahead and remove the plate. And let's take note of this actual covering right here. This actually protects the electrical components that are sitting in here. So when reinstalling, make sure that the shorter side, which doesn't have that much covering, faces towards the back. And also be sure not to remove this film that's sitting on this actual sheet itself. Okay, now that we've gained access to the internal components, we can actually go ahead and replace either the control switch or the lights or the actual IC board, or even the capacitor if it needs to be replaced. Okay, now that we have access to the internals, we're going to go ahead and replace the LED light fixture, and we're going to do so by removing this plate in the center here, and it's held in place by 2 screws, 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and get those removed. Okay, now that both screws have been removed, we can actually go ahead and get this plate out of the way. And you're actually going to want to lift, and the front of it, you're going to go ahead and slightly face it towards the back. And depending on which light needs to be removed, just go ahead and locate the wire that's coming from the light fixture that needs to be replaced. And for example, we're going to be using this one that's on the left. Just follow that wire that comes from the base of the light fixture, follow it up to the appropriate connector. Go ahead and press on the latch, holding one end, disconnect it. And now this light on the left is ready to be removed, and we're going to show you how to remove the light in the next step. Okay, now that we have disconnected the light fixture from the actual connector, we're looking back at the underside of the range hood, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and press on the back or on the top of this light fixture to disengage the springs that are actually holding it in place. So be very careful, as some of the items in here may be sharp, so just go slow. Go ahead and press on the back of it, and as you can see, it started to lift out, and there you go. The light fixture has now been removed. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and reinstall our replacement LED light fixture, and when doing so, make sure that the actual wire where it's coming out from the base, make sure that it points towards the control switch. So in this case, it's right here on the right, so we're actually going to go ahead and feed the wire through first with the connector, and right here simply apply pressure to the bottom of the light fixture so that the actual brackets connect to the body. Okay, now the light's secure, it's not going to fall out, and we just go back to the top to the original connection, plug it back in, and reverse the steps.